Western Spring Television, ours it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. You're welcome to Morning Spring today. Again, thank you for always being here with us. This is what we do here at this time, having very frank conversations geared towards having a better and a working nation, especially at this time. Now, there is no better time to talk about these issues than now, especially with what is happening in the annals of our nation. Many things to really talk about, but be rest assured, we take it from an informed angle, different opinions of you, our distinguished viewers. And of course, we have guests who have something, one thing or the other, to do about these issues. Balanced reportage, balanced opinions and angles as well. That's what we stand for, and that's why we say it as it is here at Western Spring Television. Broadcasting live on channel 190 on Star Times, DTT, and also on our YouTube channel and other social media platforms as well, all at Western Spring Television. Femi Ojo is my name. Thank you for being here again. And Evelyn is there. Good morning, Evelyn.
Good morning, Femi.
Yeah.
How do you do?
How do you do too?
Welcome on board, our esteemed viewers. Thank you so much for joining us at the midweek installment of Morning Spring. And like Femi said, this is where we'll have meaningful conversation about situations happening in our country, speaking to stakeholders, politicians, policymakers, helping you have an in-depth understanding of what's happening and also help you make meaningful choices. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei, thanking you especially for adding us to your morning routine and also being a part of our world.
Thank you. We appreciate it, and we don't take that for granted as well. Quickly, on the program, we usually look at the headlines. These are headline stories from our major dailies, and then after that, we then get talking about issues of public importance. But firstly, let's start from home, where the State Security Council sat yesterday talking about Osun State, and that was chaired by the Osun State Governor, the Chief Security Officer himself, and they spoke about very serious issues. And so it was said that security alerts are being raised, and that's raised by the Governor himself, Ademola Adeleke. And the State Security Council has adopted preemptive and proactive measures to secure the state. And rising from the Security Council meeting yesterday, the Council resolved, among others, to strengthen interagency intelligence sharing, the creation of a rapid response joint security task force, strengthening of logistic support for security operations. Now, very germane is this part that we have reports, and that's coming from the governor himself, that those behind the plot, and what's the plot? That there is a threat, a report of a threat to peace and security within the state school system and rural farm communities. Now, we are bringing these out this morning so that you could be informed and to know that, yes, the security agencies will have to do their job. They have to be on top of the game, but then you should be informed that whatever concerns you as well, you should do that, and that is being watchful. Security, they say, is local. You should be, if you see something, say something. It's not the time to just be in your own corner and expect that the police will know what is happening in every corners of our communities. We have to be a brother's keeper and be watchful at this time. And now that this security information is being given about our school system, and you know what is happening in the north. So this is not to scare people, I'm sure, but it's this for everybody to really be careful. And I've been seeing some notifications from some schools, alerting the parents to be watchful, and they themselves saying they are going to do their best. As we pray for God's protection, we must do our part as well. And we have reports that those behind the plot are targeting disruption of farming activities through kidnappings and attacks on rural farm settlements. Schools are being targeted with abductions and attacks as a way of distracting from the implementation of the Safe School Initiative and a multi-billion-dollar infrastructure plan. These are signals that bandits from other states are facing Osun State. The governor is saying this, so this is not something to, that should be taken with levity. And we need to secure our border from the influx of such criminals, especially Kwara or Shumbandri, Ondo, Ohiolei boundary, among others. And we are initiating a reform of Amotekun Force, among many things. That's what the governor said. And it's good to know that he said, even if those intelligence reports, you know, are not even as bad as it looks, they must do. And he is ready to do whatever is necessary. Evelyn, your take on that?
Well, security is the responsibility of all. It's not just for the security agencies or the government. We all have our own part to play when it comes to security, because it is local. And just like you said, if you see something, say something. And also, whatever is said by the people should be taken with utmost importance, urgency, and also made confidential. I mean, whatever the citizens or the residents say to the security agencies, because once there is no security, then the progress, there will be economic halt in any community. So we hope, I mean, Osun State is ours. This is our own Jerusalem, like they say. And if there is no peace here, then we cannot do anything. We cannot come to the studio to work. People cannot really sit down and watch us as they are doing now. So we have to put everything in place to ensure that security works right here in Osun State.
And in as much as you have identified, you know, they talked about Osun-Kwara border, maybe because of the influx, you know, the lowering of Ikirun axis, and then the Ohiolei, they're talking about the Ondo State and Osun State both. And I'm sure beyond what they have released, there will be information that they can put up as well. You know, this one that I brought was from That was the statement released as Commissioner for Information, and very particular because the threat to our children, to our schools, it's not something that, especially know what is happening up there in the north. You know, we are praying for the safe return of these school children and teachers that have been abducted, and women as well. So we should take preemptive measure to do whatever we have to do. And by the way, before we go to the papers, it was a rumpus, a ruckus of a thing at the National Assembly yesterday. And Evelyn, your guess is as good as mine. The center could not hold yesterday.
Yeah, it was really very funny, amusing to watch, at the same time very, very alarming to watch such thing happen
amusing in
our red chambers yesterday. I mean, we had another experience of please put off your mic, although it wasn't said explicitly yesterday, but we saw the mic of Senator Jaribe go off while he was trying to make a point. So it's really, really very embarrassing that we can still have something like that happen in our Senate. These are people that are representing the people, and it seems they are just representing their own stomachs, their own pockets, and whatever just affects them. But of course, we'll definitely speak to this issue, and there will be more to this in the coming weeks and months, because definitely this will not be the end. This is just the beginning, I should say, of this particular issue.
That's right. And if I'm from, I think Honorable Jaribe is from Cross Rivers, though I'm not too sure, or Jigawa thereabout. If I were to come from his constituency and I realize that you off the mic of my representative, I will frown my eye. I should be upset, because why? Allow him to say whatever he wants to say. By the way, very interesting days ahead. But we take a pause here. When we return, we go straight to the headline. There we are. All right, we start with the Daily Independence, and just like I said, this is where we give you headlines, you know, very short stories, bold headlines as we have on our major dailies for today. The Daily Independent have these: 3.7 trillion naira budget padding claim. Senate in rowdy session suspends Abdul Ningi for 3 months. Some riders here. 500 million naira constituency project scandal rocks upper chamber. Bamidele says there is a plot to impeach Akpabio before July. And maybe that's why Ningi came up with that, or some persons. Embattled Ningi resigns as chairman of Northern Senators Forum. Ningi suspension without inquiry amounts to cover-up, says Huriwa. Akpabio leads senators to see Tinubu after Ningi suspension. by the way. So much for separation of power there, that whatever happens, for say Jack Robinson, you know, the leaders of the Senate, of the legislature, are always at the villa. You wonder why. But then it is what it is. Ramadan, pray for peace, stability of Nigeria. Tinubu urges Muslim faithful. Atiku accuses Tinubu of sponsoring report that he is exiting PDP. Interesting. Gunmen invade UNTH Enugu, abduct director and one other. Kidnapping. Afenifere calls for multi-level policing. Stakeholders meeting. Consortium expresses interest in funding completion of Kano Maradi rail project. Tinubu appoints former Lamata MD Dayo Mobereola as Nimasa DG, reaffirms commitment to enhancing maritime security in the Gulf of Guinea, and bottom strip, mob burns Abuja market, cars over killing or fleeing suspect. If we go through this story, is one drama taken too far that has cost somebody, you know, his life. By the way, interesting one there. Awkward, by the way. And top strip, rising insecurity, experts ask federal government to change strategy, restructure the country. And on the 2024 global poll, Ayedatiwa declares governorship bid, says Akeredolu will be proud of him. At this point, I'd like to bring in Ladeji Alabi. Ladeji, good morning. Thank you for joining us again.
Yeah, good morning to you, Femi.
Yeah.
Good morning, Evelyn.
Thank you. Very interesting headlines here. Let's start from here. Maybe just a bit, you know, of these headlines. 1 minute each. Senate in rowdy session suspend Abduningi for 3 months. Now, the riders are interested. 500 million consistency project scandal rocks upper chamber. Bamidele says there is a plot to impeach Akpabio before July, and you know, interesting ones. Your take on that?
Well, I caught a bit of the session of the National Assembly yesterday. Watched a couple of their comments and all.
Plenary.
The plenary, yeah. From Ningi's suspension, I've seen a lot of people comment about him personally, but people have not been talking about the fact that people from Bauchi, where he represents, would not have a say in the National Assembly for the next 3 months. You know, beg your pardon.
Sorry.
The conversation has been around Ningi. And also moving to the National Assembly, I still feel, for me,
Yeah.
I still feel something is fishy. Investigate this. So are you all telling us that you are rallying? Now, look at what happened when that senator was making his comment. High-ranking members go 500 million naira constituency project. Whatever. For what? For what are you sharing 500 million naira? And out of 109 senators, it was only Ningi that, and the other man that could make comments about padding, and other senators went mum. Nothing happened. I saw former Senator Shehu Sani made the comment. He said when he also came out about the revelation of how much senators go, he said it took the intervention of the Senate president for him not to be suspended. That if you are in the opposition and you say things that you are not meant to say in the National Assembly, you will collect. We can't keep running something that looks like a cult group in the National Assembly. This money are not meant to be your personal money. They are national money. So you are sharing 500 million naira. In December, it was prayers that they were sending to their personal emails and all. I feel they should have investigated this. Was Ningi right? If he was right, what went wrong? Who are those people that padded the budget? What happened? The man that alleged that high-ranking members go 500 million naira, investigate those. But immediately after the suspension, all of you pack yourself to the Aso Villa to go and do what? To go and tell the president, we've done your bidding. What next are you doing? When next are you bringing a loan request so that we can approve? When next are we getting new SUVs? These people are unserious, and I can tell you for free, Femi, they are not there because of the people.
Okay.
They are there because of themselves.
That's what the Daily Independent have for us this morning, the front page.
All right, we'll move over to the Punch newspaper at this time. On the Punch newspaper, still talking about the budget pardon controversy. Ranking senators get 17 billion naira constituency votes, and Ningi's suspended. Senators got 500 million naira votes each, says Jaribe. Ningi resigns as Northern Caucus chair. Okpayemi says 500 million naira for constituency projects, alleges some lawmakers plotting Akpabio's removal. Away from that, Army busts illegal gun factory in Delta, arrests 8. Ayedatiwa declares governorship bid, gets reps, 18 lawmakers nod. That story is on page 14 of the Punch. Away from that, police grilled prime boy over petition by Mohbad's wife. Yes, that story is on the Punch. APC PDP clash over Fubara Akpabio's political jibes at Wigwe's burial. Top corner of the Punch newspaper this morning. Tinubu 6 Ramadan prayers. Jigawa slashes working hours. FG probes 107 varsities over fake degrees. And abduction. Reps tackle NSA. IG deploys squad in Kaduna and Kano. All right, I'm just going to take on Ladeji on what's happening, in Ondo State. Ayedatiwa declaring governorship bid. I mean, people already saw this coming, that he definitely would run for governorship. But your take, Ayedatiwa, as an aspirant for the Ondo governorship seat, what do you think?
Well, it is within his right. He is a Nigerian. He is a citizen of Ondo State. He has all the right to also say he wants to contest to become the governor of Ondo State. Though currently he is the governor after the death of Aketi, so he has the right to contest. Performance-wise, I've not really followed development in Ondo State since he became the substantive governor. But I feel he has the right to contest, and let the party, members, the delegates, see if he is the best man for the job, or it is okay, or the other guys that are trying to, get the ticket. But I saw the event yesterday on TV. Though I had an issue with that. It's very unnecessary, throwing up a party like that we want to declare, for president. I mean, for governorship. But he has done what he feels is right in his sight, and let's see what happens. The party primaries will be coming up. INEC has scheduled it to come up in the month of April. So let's see what people, Ondo APC members will decide. If it is Governor Ayedatiwa or okay, or one of the other guys, all the best.
All right. Of course, events will unfold. It's just the beginning of the political battle in Ondo State. Fingers are crossed, and we'll see what this makes up. By next year, we'll know who will retain that seat, retain or get that seat in Ondo State.
Yeah, and The Guardian is next. The Guardian newspaper. And budget pardon, we are all culpable. And of course, you have the picture of the big wigs there at the National Assembly, and that of the president, the Senate President, Akpabio, this House of Rep Speaker, high-ranking members, Senator Adeola there, Senator Femi Abduningi himself, and of course, one on the older parliamentarian. 500 million naira awards, that's in parentheses now, to ranking senators unsettle and expose National Assembly rot. That's coming from the front page of The Guardian for today. And of course, you could see an insert of the picture of the budget there. And that's the bone of contention, the way it was prepared. Using different semantics now. Nigerians lament rising airfares as experts blame exchange rate. Okay, it's people like Ladeji that will be affected by this. Court strikes out suit seeking Igbo's exit from Nigeria. Revival of night patrol as prelude to reforming the police. That's an editorial piece. Bandits capture another 30 as IGP visits Kaduna. Okay, but as it is, Naira's free fall, a lean budget, hobble Nigerian missions abroad. WTO inaugurates $1.2 million facility to boost food safety in Nigeria. $1.2 million, that's quite some money. That's from World Trade Organization. And Ladeji, Nigerians lament rising airfares as experts blame exchange rate. And I'm asking you that, you guys are the people who fly now and then.
Who fly what?
Your take on that? We're talking about planes now. Yeah.
Well, airfare apparently
rising.
About 2 or 3 weeks ago, the federal government brought up another taxation on airline operators. And the comment that first came out of my mouth is, it is the people, the flyers, that will pay for this.
But the government must make the money, isn't it?
You don't overtax people, Femi.
You think they have overtaxed?
Nigerians are paying multifaceted taxes already. You don't overtax these people. During economic downturn, in other senior climes, what do the government do to help the business owners? You bring out subsidies for them, you bring out funds for them to make sure. Okay, so for example, in America, when
I think after COVID, the government did.
I'm for me,
well.
Femi.
Yeah.
In America, when government tells you we've added 7 million jobs, it is not that American government employed 7 million people. But okay, this is company A. Ford is employing 10,000 people. This company is employing, and the government is helping them, giving them palliatives to make sure that they stay afloat. But here in Nigeria, we are looking at means of overtaxing business owners.
COVID-19, the government gave a bailout
to how many companies?
Yeah.
Go on the streets there. Ordinary corporate driver have multiple taxations they pay.
No, we're talking about.
No, I'm telling you how it happens. Go to motor parts. They will tell you always so. This money for that, this money for about out of the money he make there, a particular percentage is going back to and they will tell you it is government money. Now you talk about airfares now. From Lagos to Abuja, yesterday or thereabout, I got it. We come to get from Lagos to Abuja is 400,000 naira. Something people used to fly for around 20,000 naira thereabout before.
Return.
Of course, yes. Return ticket. Lagos to Abuja, 400,000 naira. Lagos to Benin is 320,000 naira. So how do you want these people to cope? They buy Jet 1. Yeah, of course, they buy all those things. They maintain aircraft because apparently these are things that you maintain every now and then. So how do you want them to maintain it? They also need to make money. For crying out loud, before now, about less than 100,000 will fly you to United Kingdom. Now, if you want to fly a normal whatever that you don't want to overdo yourself.
Not in the last 10 years, by the way.
Now, so if you want to fly to UK now, Femi, if you don't have something around 1 million naira, 1 million naira plus, you are not flying to anywhere except you want to fly through Benin.
Do they do night bus? Only that when you
except you want to fly via Benin or Ondo.
I choose to ignore that. If you take a night bus, only that you must have read a couple of chapters of Psalms.
No, it's well, of course, you can choose. If you want to do night bus to London, just take a bit of ransom alongside yourself and you'll be
to
fine.
London.
Of course, yes. You pass through the Sahara Desert.
Well, by the way, we actually have a lady driving from London to Lagos.
She's not following the other side.
And it's taken her like 3 months, so if you want to do that.
That's what the Guardian has for us today.
Okay, from the Guardian, it is going to be Nigerian Tribune. At this time, alleged 3.7 trillion naira budget pardon. Our senators nailed Gates on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune, and as you can see, we've had it on major dailies this morning. Ayedatiwa formally declares for Ondo governorship. Osun governor raises alarm over planned attack on schools and farms. Bandits demand 20 trillion naira in exchange for Sokoto Sangaya students. Atiku tackles Tinubu over report linking him to PDP exit. And body of killed driver of kidnapped Ekiti student, school children rather, recovered. WTO to boost Nigeria's non-oil export with $1.2 million. And top corner, 3.325 trillion naira allocation. Reps worry over ravaging insecurity. Probe utilization of $20 million safe school fund. Abduction of over 200 students. Economic crisis. Tinubu won't apportion blame, says Shatima. Says 2023 election most divisive in Nigeria's history. And lastly, Kano, Jigawa, Katsina need 600 megawatts daily, and it gets 180 megawatts. That's according to KETCO. It's on page 28. 180 out of 600. That is way lesser than the average there. But Ladeji, let's come home. Osun governor releases alarm over planned attack on schools and farms. Your take very quickly.
Yeah, beyond the alarms, let's be proactive.
Yeah.
That's the best thing we can do now. Let's set up beyond just the rhetorics of releasing press statements, telling people to be prepared. let the government and the security agencies be up and doing. This is the best time for us to secure. You know, I was saying it 2 days ago on the show that, you know, most times you just feel, maybe it is up north. It is not happening. If the north is not safe, if the east is not safe, if the south is not safe, nobody is safe. Because it's just like a system. What affects the head will eventually affect the finger. So we just need to be proactive at this time. We can't afford to start saying, oh, they kidnap people somewhere and people start going about their businesses in fear. It would affect the economy. That's the reality. I just hope the government do the needful, set up modalities for the security agencies, and let the security agencies also be at alert. I've seen situations whereby they mobilize security agencies to some communities, and all they do there is to go and be collecting money from drivers. This is beyond this now. Let us face the reality. We need to really secure the lives of our farmers, the lives of our students.
All right, proactiveness. We need to be proactive as a government and also as a people. That will be all for Nigerian Tribune.
All right, I want to sincerely thank you, Ladeji, for your take.
It's always a pleasure to be here. And I hope you also get one of the freezers that they will be buying for people in Senator Akpabio's constituencies.
We are not in his constituency.
You know,
You can move there. 2.5 billion naira budgeted for that. That's huge.
thank you, Ladeji. By the way,
But it's for women. Evelyn should go.
thank you again for being here. We switch gears right now. We go on this break, and when we come back, we will be talking about what went down yesterday at the National Assembly. But it's not just about yesterday. It's about what has been in the news for a couple of days now, where a senator of the Federal Republic alleged there was some impropriety in the way the budget, the 2024 budget, was prepared. And we see and talk more about this. Please stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. Eastern Morning Spring or Western Spring Television, the station that says it as it is. And a Morning Spring conversation this morning, it's about, you know, what has been in the news for the past couple of days, since last week till over the weekend till now, when a senator representing Bauchi Central, Senator Abdulningi, you know, granted an interview over the weekend to BBC Hausa Service, where he said the way the budget was prepared wasn't proper, and in fact he was quoted to have said, because he granted it in Hausa language, so when translated, that he said is like the nation is running two budgets. One by the president, another one by the presidency rather, another one by the Senate, meaning what was approved, you know, and signed into law. There is another part, a 25 trillion naira approved budget, and the excess of 28 trillion naira that was approved by the National Assembly and, you know, signed into law by the president as well. And so since he said that, the center has no hold again as far as the National Assembly is concerned. Firstly, Bayo Ononuga, the Special Assistant of the President on Media and Strategy, came up to say the federal government doesn't know anything about that. And in fact, that claim by Senator Ningi is false, that there is only one document, only one, you know, budget document that was signed and into law, and that is what we are running as a country. So he washed his hands on that, of the federal government, off that allegation that nothing of such is happening. When the plenary, by the way, there have been reactions to that as well. The Senate, many senators have reacted to that to say it's not true. But we had the resumption of plenary yesterday. It was a ruckus, you know, expectedly. So he came up, and by the way, over the weekend as well, we were told that he recanted, as Abdulningi saying he didn't talk about padding per se. That what he said was that the way the budget was done wasn't proper, and it appears that there are two different budget documents in which we are running in Nigeria. So yesterday at plenary, it was a free-for-all because many senators frowned. At the end of the day, he was suspended for 3 months, and suspension means he won't be attending plenary. He should not be seen at the floor of the House. His remunerations will be stopped because for the next 3 months he has nothing to do. But we later learned that there is a caveat that if he co-apologizes within the 3 months, he might be considered as well. Many persons have seen that as an affront. You know, like, why don't you investigate? Take your time to investigate, talking about the leadership of the National Assembly instead of wielding the big sticks because they believe he has thrown the National Assembly, you know, or painted them as a group of insincere and, you know, fraudsters that are just doing whatever they want for themselves. And, you know, that's the matter. On the floor of the House yesterday, Senator Jaribe again rose up, possibly in defense of what Ningi was saying, to say, why are we like these? There are people that are tagged as ranking senators, and that he is a ranking senator as well, and he could say that 500 million, as high as 500 million naira, you know, was given as maybe awards of consistency project. You know, when he was saying that as well, the mic went off. He could not continue with that. And, you know, many senators began to raise their hands and approach the president of the Senate. This is part of what we are seeing at this time. Many analysts have spoken on the matter to say maybe it's not really pardon, maybe it's just an impropriety, by the way. You should see this video, and after that, we'll welcome our guest to speak on the matter.
We are going forward and back on these issues and coming up with issues of the budget and individual issues concerning what came to our various constituencies. If we want to go into those issues, all of us are culpable. Some senators here, so-called senior senators, got 500 million each. I am a ranking senator, I didn't get. Did I go to the press? Most of you got. And yes, if we want to go into those issues, excuse me, if we want to go into those issues, yes. So I think that Senator Ningi,
I'm seeing about again. I know
And I also said, in the course of our perusing the budget, which Onanuga seems to have dwelt on, I say we have established very reasonable doubt about 25 trillion so far has nexus in the budget. That means there is money, and then there is project, and then there is location. Money, project, location. But we are yet to ascertain 3 trillion of that budget. When we establish the 3 trillion in the budget, we have not established its location and the place. The intention of the Northern Senators as regards to the budgetary allocation was to meet the Senate President with our findings and subsequently meet President Bola Ahmed Tinubu with our findings. So if one is questioning our desire to relate with Bola Tinubu, how will I say that the findings of the Northern Senator Forum will go to the Senate President and then to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the President and Commander-in-Chief? And you could see, I switched off all my handsets this morning. I don't want any Northern Senator to come here. If it is a cross I have to carry, I'll carry it. I'm not afraid of anything. Anything. I believe in one God, and I believe power is transient. I'm not scared of any issue like suspension. I've been out of the Senate for 8 years. And people had to force me back. It's not an issue. Some of our friends were removed by tribunals. They're living their lives. If because I say what I will say, if because I said what I said, then I'll be suspended. So please be it. It will be an honor. And for me to be suspended by whatever body. The interview I had with BBC was never an interview for no.
All right, that was an excerpt of the drama that played out yesterday. We have been joined to make sense of this conversation for us by a public affairs analyst and a former gubernatorial candidate on the Social Democratic Party in the last gubernatorial election in Osun State in 2022, an educationist. He wears many caps, by the way, architect Goke Omigbodun. Thank you for joining us. Good morning.
My pleasure always to be here on issues like this.
Thank you. By the way, you've heard it, you've seen it, you heard my introduction. What do you make of what is going on? And I'm asking you, not just as a politician, not just as public affairs analyst, but as a concerned Nigerian.
Well, as a concerned Nigerian, which is where I'm going to locate myself mostly in this discourse, it is a very sad way to open our eyes to things that had always been. Don't let anybody deceive you that this is new. It had always been. They had traditions of ranking senators and how they share our resources and how those resources never really get to the people. And now you would have thought that the man who came up with this was fighting for the people. No, it's about one fighting for his section of the country. A lot of things will still unfold the more. You'll be shocked.
Senator Ningi.
Oh, yes. A lot of things will unfold. I have no doubt that at his age and with his level, he would not have spoken that it was a decision of the Northern Senators Forum without certain things happening. And I'm not shocked about such things. See, when I was in the secondary school, there was a day we all agreed that we were underfed, and we were all, you know, singing, we are underfed, we are underfed. And by the time we got to the bend of the principal's house, half of the people had disappeared. Of course, I had disappeared. There was only one boy, I won't like to mention his name, and he was big, so he couldn't run as fast as the rest of us. And so the principal looked out and mentioned his name. You know, big boy, said, "You are underfed." And then the boy looked around. Everybody had disappeared. I have no doubt that a lot of people have disappeared around Ningi. And secondly, even if you remember the voice vote that was done concerning his suspension, unless a proper vote was taken, which was not done because the Senate president had made up his mind that the man was supposed to be suspended, that voice vote was not clean enough for you to be sure that the majority actually approved of the suspension. So Ningi has his followers, and the followership is not necessarily about the masses of the Nigerian people. So as one of the masses of the Nigerian people, I feel very sad for us. And I feel very sad for us because I do not see a way out. We are in a big vicious cycle. I do not see a very, very bright future, because what we need to do as a people, what the civil society organizations need to do to get the rest of us aware and to move to do things on two levels. One, how many civil society organizations are interested in budget tracking? So all of these things, if they did not even make them open to the rest of us, who is interested in budget tracking anymore? I used to be the president of the Osun NECNOS, Network of NGOs in Osun State, and budget, I was actually the pioneering president, and budget tracking was something that I made sure we did a lot of training about. Is anybody still doing budget tracking around us? I'm even talking of my little state here, not to talk of the entirety of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So budget tracking is an issue. So second one, and why I said I do not see a future, is that something slipped into our polity, and I don't know how we're going to get out of it.
What's that?
The moment it became more difficult of a truth because of the electoral laws that were coming up, that it was not just that easy to just announce figures like that anymore. It's still being done, but now it's a lot easier to buy the votes of the people. So now people are selling their votes. So votes do not go to the people with the best of intentions, with the best of integrity, with the best of education, with the best of track records. It's all, in fact, your political debates are eventually end up being nonsense without sounding immodest. Go and check when we had the political debates, the governorship debate in Osun. A lot of people, when they never knew me, still meet me today and say, oh, you are the one. That was a fantastic thing you did at the debate. But what was my performance at the elections, real elections? Dismal, because I didn't have money to throw around. So that's why I said I cannot see a future for us as a people.
All right.
Because poverty will continue to be. And once poverty continues to be, all of these monies that these senators and reps are stacking, and the governors too, will be churned out during elections, and people will fall for the bait and go for it again.
Right.
Look, let me remind you, before you ask the next question, unless that question will allow me that opportunity of saying it, are you aware, or in fact you must be aware, let me just say, let me remind you that August last year, every parliamentarian in this country was given over 200 million naira to get palliatives and grains for the people. Oh yes, we were given. No, we were not given. Some admitted, some did not admit. That money went like that. Nobody talked about it anymore until December, when they got another 310 million naira each. You know, that's within a space of 5 months. Each parliamentarian in this country got $500 million naira to get food, palliatives, and all that for the people. We saw a few of them that televised the tokenism that they did, you know. And I dare say perhaps even those ones who would have spent maybe like 30 million out of the 300 million. And now this one is coming again, and they are talking of not even knowing what a lawmaker should be all about. All that we are discussing, or they are discussing amongst themselves, is projects that will be for their constituencies, which will never be executed because they are usually the contractors at the same time.
Now, Architect Omigbodun, two quick questions here. By the way, the word budget parting wasn't something possibly, those two words are not something possibly in the last 20, 30 years that we were used to. All of a sudden, in our recent history, we're not hearing something like this. And put it, there's a definition here that says budget parting is a situation in which a budget is made bigger than the original estimate through an increase in the value of items or the introduction of new items into the budget. Now, taking that as a definition, two questions. The first one is, in your introduction, you said Senator Ningi is being sectional in his approach, talking about, you know, one would say northernizing the conversation, because he spoke for himself. And he's the chairman of the Northern Senators Forum.
He spoke for the forum as well.
Yeah, he spoke for the forum. Later, he recused himself and resigned yesterday to say, whatever is coming, let you guys put it on me, because this is no more about the Northern Senator. And one will say, is it really a concern? Why would they want to do that? Is there more than meets the eye when this thing is looking like a sectional thing? And secondly, one will say, why not discard, you know, the source of the messenger right now, and look at what he has talked about. Yesterday, a budget head, co-founder of budget rather, Omigbodun, and some other person spoke about the matter and said, maybe it's not really about budget party, maybe it's ambiguity in the way some items have been introduced, the way some agencies of the government have been saddled with responsibilities that are never theirs, you know. like, I think some names have escaped me right now. That's some things that sound ridiculous. When you're talking about...
Should I remind you some of them?
Please hold on, sir. You will take that. That an agency of the government that doesn't have anything to do with a particular function, we just have that agency being saddled with, lots of that capacity to say, go and do this. So the ambiguity possibly is what Senator Ningi is saying. This is not the way to go. So the ambiguity gives way for many things to really happen. So those two questions is number one, why do you think this is a northern thing? And number two, can't we just ignore the messenger and look at the message?
Well, let me quickly deal with the issue of the messenger, because I'm more interested in the message. Because at the end of the day, the messenger is in a class of his own where tribe, tongue, religion don't matter. Once they are together in that chamber, they do everything together. If it's right, if it's wrong, whether it's stealing, whether it's padding, so that goes like that. But if you look at the political angle, now again, I'm going to quote one of them, Opeyemi Bamidele, said, oh, the people who had been Senate president from the South, the last time we had any was 40 years ago, and that during those times when anybody from the South was Senate president, it was always a banana peel, and he was always being changed. But the moment the Senate presidency went to the North, and that soldier, David Mark, became Senate president, that he served out his term, and after David Mark served out his term, that Bukola Saraki served out his term, and after Bukola Saraki, there was the one that just left in the 9th Senate,
Ahmed
and
Lawan.
all of them, Ahmed Lawan, and that they were all serving out their terms, and that the North was not happy that all of a sudden a Southerner is president and also president of the Federal Republic and president of the Senate, and that this was a plot from the North to make sure that banana peels were on the way again until the thing was shaken and the Senate presidency returned to the North. I don't think that was said in vain. The man understands what he was saying.
So it's a northern,
it doesn't sound incoherent to me. It sounds very, very plausible and reasonable. And so that could be it. And remember my story of we are underfed. Many of us started together singing we are underfed. But by the time we were taking the band to the principal's house, everybody had disappeared except one boy. I don't want to mention his name. And the principal mentioned his name. I said, you are underfed because the boy was fat. So who told you that along the line, all of those northern senators have not now disappeared along the bend to reappear later? So that is part of the politics of
northern, southern,
I said one of them said it. One of them said it.
Do you agree with that?
Oh, didn't I say it sounds very plausible to me? I said it sounds coherent and plausible. I mean, so what do you make of that?
That could be a distraction for all I care.
I am not sure it is exactly
to
a
just
distraction.
Distract the people and give them what to talk about.
I am sure it is an issue, and a lot of things will unfold in the next few weeks and next few months.
Okay.
Ningi has not gone down alone. There were many other voices that said, nay, don't suspend him. Those voices are not for nothing. So, but let's now go back to the real issue of budget padding. The definition that you gave, I am aware of, that definition is a more contemporary definition. The real definition, because I did a master's in business administration, and I'm aware, let me give you my own definition that I also got. I saw that definition that you read, you got it from Google. I also looked at it, I saw it there too. But in real accounting and in proper business administration, padding the budget is an accounting strategy that entails making the budget proposal higher than actual expenses in a fiscal year. Now, it is ordinarily unethical, but where organizations and governments will hide behind it is where they are trying to keep up with particular percentages that will appear welcoming. Oh, certain percentage of the education, of your budget should go for education, certain percentage should go for health. So ordinarily, you can now put those figures and pad beyond what you really intend to spend on education But in a sane system, in a system where integrity counts, and in a system where they truly want sustainable development, there is usually a room for environment of such funds into other wholesome projects, not that it will be stolen. So we now say, oh, we want to spend X amount of naira or whatever figure for educating or building schools, and you know, and then we now thought within it we can also have some science and technology related issues that will enhance our defense system. That's an environment that somehow you can eventually get away with, but it is still unethical. In fact, when I was thinking about it, the nearest I could think as an analogy for those who studied accounting and business administration is not a perfect analogy. It's the difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance. In fact, where it's not a perfect analogy is because tax avoidance is legitimate. It is just arranging my affairs such that I pay the least of taxes. So I pass my properties to my children. I make sure I give them those properties in my lifetime so they don't have to pay probate tax, and that's tax avoidance. It is different from tax evasion, where in actual fact it's been determined that you owe this and you are not paying it. So the same thing with budget padding. Same systems could use budget padding in anticipation of environment into wholesome projects. But here, what do? We just steal it. We share it.
You're saying it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's the intention that matters. Is that what you're saying?
I've told you it is unethical.
Yeah.
But even in being unethical, it is still admissible in sane societies.
All right.
But here, we have never even done anything right with the correct budgeting, not to talk of padding the budget.
All right.
And if we are looking at the substance of the thing, even from your own definition, I want to take your definition now, that increasing the figures, either because we are adding other projects to it, or because we are making room for additional funding, maybe because of inflation and all that. That's your own definition. Has the budget not been padded? Was it not originally 27.5 million? Has it not become, trillion? Has it not become 28.7 trillion? Has 1.2 trillion not been added to it? And technically, from your own definition, that is padding.
All right.
So perhaps talking of the subject itself, and I listened to Omigbodun when he was speaking yesterday on Channels TV. And he was very, very careful with his words. And in choosing those words, it will be obvious to you that if Ningi had his figures right, what Ningi thought was budget padding was not really the budget padding. What Ningi thought was budget padding were those figures that were not explicit in the appropriations. Just like Ningi himself said, of knowing the figure, knowing the project, and knowing the location of the project.
Yeah. All right.
So, architect, it's been an insightful conversation with you.
Sorry, and you may want to know, why would you not always know the project, the location? And sometimes it's not even about the ones that we are talking. In sane societies, it could be about defense.
All right.
And other things that you don't want the public to pry into. But here we are saying it is to take care of traditional rulers, to build church hall, to take care of judiciary. I was just listening to, I'm a priest, and I'm a priest of the Anglican Church. I'm sure you know that. And the part of what they want to spend the money for is to build a church hall.
By a school.
It is interesting.
But architect, our budget, isn't it supposed to be clear enough? I mean, with the allegation made by Senator Ningi saying that there were some monies in that budget that really we saw the figures, but there was no project, there was no location. So you said that necessarily doesn't look like budget pardon, only that
No, it doesn't. I just told you now that as
would
long
you
as
say,
those okay,
would you say that Senator Ninge was reckless with the information he had? Because, you know, at his disposal, did he go about it the wrong way? You know, if he had that particular information, wasn't he supposed to have looked carefully, made his own investigations, get his own facts right before? And people are saying that he shouldn't have come to the press with it. He should have gone to the appropriate court. He said in his own interview with the press, he said the Northern Senators Forum had this information, and they wanted to go to the Senate President with the information they had. They wanted to go to the President with the information they had about what they knew about the budget. But so I'd like to ask, do you think that Senator Ninge was reckless with this information?
That boy, I may just have to put a name, not the person's name.
A pseudonym, okay.
So let's assume that that boy was Alade.
All right.
Okay? Did he have the rest of us students with him originally? Was he reckless leading us? Perhaps if you are going to accuse Alade of recklessness, it will be because he was not careful enough to look at his back and discover that he was alone. And that before we got to the bend, to the principal's house, every other person had disappeared. And the same people that disappeared behind Alade when we were taking the bend, when the following morning, the principal announced that, look at Alade, see how big he is. And of course, you know, fat boy. And the same boys that followed him and abandoned him were laughing. So why am I saying all this? There is no doubt in my mind that that issue was discussed in the Northern Senators Forum. There's no doubt in my mind that that was the limits of their understanding of what they wanted to discuss, because perhaps their objective would be different from what you would expect. Because the way you are talking now, you are thinking the objective should be about the masses of Nigeria. No, their objectives are different. Private pockets, banana peel, so that another Northern senator takes over.
So this fight is not about the Nigerian masses, it's about selfish interests.
No, it's not about the Nigerian masses. Now, the second clip that you played, that senator was saying, I'm a ranking senator too, and the rest of you got 500 million naira each. And then the mic went off. So what is it? Yes, and he said, I didn't go to the press. So how is that about the masses of the people? Please, let us wake up and understand that Nigeria needs a lot of effort to get out of this vicious cycle. And the most important thing to me, anywhere I have the opportunity like this, I will say it, we need to go back to parliamentary democracy that will ensure proper restructuring, akin to what we had with the Oliver Littleton Constitution of 1954.
But these are still parliamentarians doing this.
No. It will be different. Why did I say it will be different?
Won't it be the same people?
It will be the same people. There will still be stealing, but the stealing will be at a nearer level that people will have to account for. You want to tell me that the governor of Osun can steal at the scale that these people are stealing at the... Do you know what is happening in Osun right now? Osun itself is going to be in a serious debate over some 10 billion naira. How much is 10 billion naira now? But 10 billion naira is a lot for Osun. And so we want to know, is it true that these projects can be traced to a particular parliamentarian and members of his family? These are issues. So if we have a restructuring and there is more, there are more resources in the states, more powers devolved to governors and local government chairmen, then we can ask questions at the local level, because pray, I am in Osogbo here and I am interested in the 10 billion naira projects that are being discussed. The governor of Osun is in Osogbo here with me. Where is Ningi? How can you get to Ningi? The person at Obaoke, the person at Ilie, have they ever seen Ningi before? But I tell you, the person at Oyaduni, the person at Yekemi have seen Governor Ademola Adeleke before. So if power is devolved to and then more resources come to the states, then we'll be able to ask more questions. More resources have come to the states already right now. And let the government of Osun know that with these 10 billion naira projects, issues that are coming out, some of us are not going to keep quiet. So, and it's easier for me to be pursuing a governor and for another Afenifere man in Niger State, because people think Afenifere is just about Yoruba alone. No, Afenifere is about welfareism. It's about making sure that there is good governance. So there's an Afenifere man in Borno State that is pursuing the governor of Borno. In fact, there's an Afenifere man in Ekiti that is the governor. You know, then you will find out that welfareism will be more about the people and not about private pockets.
Akita, let's talk about investigating this matter. There are a lot of people that are concerned that you cannot be a judge in your own case. Talk about the investigation into this revelation made by Senator Ninge, saying that the Senate should not be the one to investigate this matter, because we have seen, you talked about a suspension, saying if we had to put, it was a voice vote and it wasn't clear enough. If it were to be a written vote, probably we would have more nay than more yay.
No, maybe not, because I tried to listen and I saw it will just be slightly more for yes.
Okay.
And that means Ningi still has a strong followership.
All right. So,
and the number, the percentage may yield over the next few days.
all right. So,
may change.
So talking about investigating this matter,
Yes.
who, in your own view and opinion, who do you think, or which agency or which institution do you think should be saddled with this responsibility of investigating this issue?
For as long as we still have the national parliament in place, let them do their job. For as long as we still have the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, let them look into it. For as long as we still have the ICPC, these are all agencies that Orosei report will have, you know, merged into one. Let them look into it. But most importantly to me, because all those agencies, to me, it may shock you, are less important than the people. Let the civil society organizations take absolute interest. I am going to take absolute interest in the happenings in Osun now, that I'm hearing all these funny things about 10 billion naira projects being awarded to only one person and his family. It had better not be true. Because if it is true, there will be more than enough noise about it that eventually something will happen. So it is not about... So, but if the Senate...
This example you are giving,
if the Senate should just investigate... At the end of the day, nothing is going to happen.
You think it's a dead end?
It is going to be a dead end, because even when the outcome, I mean, can't you already see that who are the people that are going to investigate? Who is going to set up any committee? There's going to be an ad hoc committee. If there is a standing committee that is going to, are they not amongst the people that said, yes, suspend him? So if they're amongst the people that said, yes, crucify him. So you think they will now come up with something that will indict them? So that is going to be a dead end. And if you have if you have a minority report,
where does this leave the Nigerian people?
That is exactly what I'm saying. The Nigerian people should wake up. And I don't. It sounds so remote to me right now. I don't know how we are going to do it. When I said I wanted to be governor of Osun, I knew I didn't have the kind of financial muscle to face all the business moguls and money mongers that were contesting against me. But I knew that I had the ideas. I knew that God has given me the grace to be able to articulate those ideas. I knew I could critique and see what is positive about what had been done before and what could be, you know, improved upon. I knew I could put all of this across to the people, and I did. But after doing so, what is the outcome?
All right.
So the Nigerian people will have to save themselves.
Okay. Quick one here, because we still have a long way to go and we have a few minutes remaining. Now, do you sincerely believe, and because let me say it this way, there are some insinuations in some quarters that maybe there are some certain northern elements that are hell-bent on destabilizing the Asiwaju Bola Tinubu-led administration, you know, for whatever their intention are. And I'll give you an example of what some persons are saying. Because these are the opinions of some people to say, why are we having pockets of, you know, protests here and there? You know, yes, we've had it in the south, but in the northern part of the country, in Abuja, in Kano, you know, in some part of those northern states to say when things were even worse, talking about security, some of these people didn't come out to protest, especially when it was the time of former President Buhari. So why are they coming out now? Most of these northern big people, the kings that are now being vocal, they were never categorical like these, but these are insinuations, by the way. So do you sincerely believe that those persons that under Buhari, they were next to being mute, all of a sudden they are vocal now? I'm asking you, as architect Goke Omigbodun, who knows what is going on in town, do you, in your conscience, believe there is another element to destabilize the Tinubu government?
I was looking at one video clip. I've forgotten the name of the person.
Sorry, architect, especially adding these school abductions again. That's another angle, because it happened under Jonathan, and some persons were fingered to say they are the reasons why those things happen. We are experiencing it now.
Oh, but they also happened under Buhari, when Buhari was president.
I'm just putting everything into the mix.
That's you see, these are different.
Or it's just a flawed argument.
No, it's not. It is not at all. But just let me articulate my views. Okay,
that time is of essence.
Yes, you know, because I was telling you about a video clip that you know, somebody was in that video clip saying something that when you have corruption and it favors you, you call it connection. You know, and even in Yoruba, there's this saying, it's not a proverb, that any tifa otosi long pe ni haramu, that it is when you are not a beneficiary of that thing, connection, that you call it corruption. So why will those elements that you talked about in the north be worried if everything was about them? All the appointments were about them. Whether they functioned well or not in those offices is not the issue, but that it is our man that is there. So he's making some money. He's been jobless. Now he has some money and he's doing very well and he's bringing money home. But you are enjoying it. And now suddenly that table turned. And the moment the table turned, to justify the Omeni Oshedi Bebere, I'm not one of those people that, you know, I never campaigned for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I am proud that I campaigned for Peter Obi, because that is what I believed in, and that is what Afenifere believed in. And we did that because we thought, let everybody have an opportunity to also have a shot at governance. There is no family that does not have its own brilliant, intelligent people with integrity that can run this country. But now we have a Yoruba man there, our kinsman from Oshun. So all of the appointments now are also revolving around Oshun people. And whether they are the most intelligent Oshun people or the ones that are that have any iota of integrity. So do you think those people in the north whose cousins were occupying those offices will now be happy? So it will be people in Iragbiji, in Lagos, that will now be happy because they are the ones that, oh, definitely.
So where does this leave this project called Nigeria if we continue moving in a cycle?
Where it leaves us is, let us remove what is that big thing in the center that everybody is running after. I dare say it, that APC was determined to rig the presidency and take the presidency because that is a bigger prize than all the 36 states governors put together. Because with the presidency...
That's a big allegation, the architect.
Yes, it is. I have said it.
And he who alleges must prove.
Then let me now prove that the federal government takes 53% of the allocation from the federal allocation account. So that is more than what all the states put together take. All the states put together take about 26%, and then the local, 27%. The local governments take about 20%. So why would I be looking for 20 and 26%? And it's going to take me so much effort to be looking into 36 states to take 26% and then 774 local governments, when I can just sit down and get one big chunk of 53% and start distributing to my cronies.
Architect, let me just jump in. Yeah, we must talk about Osun State. We'll be talking about national. Yes. By the way, you know, when you said the APC...
And that's why I said there must be restructuring.
Yeah, when you said the APC, you know, planned to rig the election, because of the resources. Many persons will say every party had their chance to, contest for that election. Maybe the Nigerian people made other options to settle for the APC. But let's talk about Osun State here.
Well, I don't know about that.
You won't be here.
No,
Yes.
you know,
Please,
you know what happened in Lagos. No, you know what happened in Lagos.
There is no way.
Some people were not allowed to go out to vote.
Let's
and
talk
you are
about
telling
Osun
me,
State.
So let's talk about
Architect,
Osun State.
there is no way we will have you.
I don't want to offend you.
There is no, it's not about offending me. There is no way we will have you here.
Yes.
And we will not talk about the state.
Yes.
Yesterday there was a release, and the release was made after the Osun State Security Council meeting, and the governor, chaired that meeting to say there are reports there are some criminals that are heading towards Osun. In fact, there are some insinuations that say some of them are within our fringes of our communities as well. And he spoke about what the state must do, that he is aware, all the security agencies are aware. And he talked about two things: destruction of farming activities and school kidnappings. You are an educationist. And I have announced you're a farmer as well, in some way.
I was a farmer. I have run away.
Okay, all right.
Because if I'm kidnapped now, you won't raise money to rescue
all right.
me.
Now, especially because of the abductions that is rife in the northern part, the governor is saying we will do what we have to do. Let everybody be on their toes. When you see something, say something. He is going to work with the vigilantes, with the Amotekuns, with everybody. Do you think that's the right call? And do you share that sentiment that maybe some criminals are on their way to Osun State as well? He talked about the Osun-Kwara border, the Ile-Ife-Garajolo, the border as well.
Well, he is the governor.
Yeah.
So he gets the security reports that I will never get until perhaps someday God says I will be governor too. So I have no doubt that he knows what he's talking about. Yeah. But even as an ordinary citizen, some of these things are palpable. You can feel them. They seem real to me, so I ordinarily believe him. And I ordinarily believe there's a lot we need to do about it together. It had always been. I remember when I was contesting the governorship, a professor was coming from Ekiti, a member of my party, to come and assist do a few things. He was attacked somewhere in Ijesha land, okay? And, he couldn't get here with his vehicle, because, and I also have said it, that around that community where he was attacked, I later saw the KBAC of that community. I didn't even recognize him anymore. He was my childhood friend. And then he called me, and I looked at him. He was wearing a face cap, tattered jeans, and a T-shirt. And I said, KBAC, why are you like this? And he said, have you forgotten that your friend was attacked very close? So we have to disguise and come into town. This was 2 years ago. So if the thing is now closer, well, then the governor has to do something. But I will let you know something. You see, our people will always get the kind of government that they deserve. This government that is in place in Osun now, recognizing that that had always been, in fact, during that governorship election, there was not one single governorship candidate of a notable party that was not attacked. The then governor, Boyega Oyetola, was attacked. His wife was attacked. The incumbent governor now, Demola Adeleke, was attacked. I was attacked. Lasun Yusuf was attacked. I've forgotten my friend's name now. Was attacked. Everybody was attacked, And so if you knew that we always had that security flow, I would have expected that a government that would now come in will recognize all of this. First of all, you should have had enough data about, things around here. A lot of evil will happen in the dark. Yeah. Electricity would have been the first thing that you will tackle, and not all these flyovers that you are doing right now. You would have made sure that intelligence was one of the things that you will promote amongst young people using the internet. You would have made Osun into an equivalent of a Silicon Valley, or I've forgotten the name of that one in India, Bangalore, I think, where they have a lot of ICT presence. All right, Osun should have better electricity, and then there will be fewer people who want to operate in the dark. Then your intelligence will be able to have enough surveillance
All right.
by now
Architect,
to be sure
we'll still
that
have you here
those
again
people
to really
will be too
discuss
afraid.
Osun in essential.
Honestly,
Yeah.
let me tell
Our
you,
producer
because
say
of
we
time.
must go. We must go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the security,
All right.
you must first deter.
All right.
If you have done enough things to
Yeah.
deter,
Yeah.
then they will not even think of
But
coming.
on this matter,
but
with the
now
state
you are left with management.
With the council, security council meeting that was held yesterday, and all the plans that government say they are going to do, you don't want to give him props for that. You want to give him kudos to say,
didn't I say that?
In this regard.
That was the first thing that I said.
All right.
That's the first thing that I said. And I said I believe in, he's saying that,
Oh, yeah.
but he's doing these things 12 months too late.
All right. Okay. We'll have you one of these days to really discuss Osun, you know, in broader perspective and where we are right now as a state. Architect Goke Omigbodun, of course, a public affairs analyst, a politician, educationist, a former gubernatorial candidate at the last election in Osun State. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure to have been
Thank
here.
you for joining us today.
I didn't know that 1 hour would just fly by like that.
You know?
I didn't say a quarter of what I wanted to say here today.
We'll have you
Definitely bring you back.
to speak to these issues again.
It's all right.
Please always stay with us here at Western Spring Television. And this is where we say it as it is. The aim of this program is to have conversations, deep, sometimes uncomfortable kind of conversations, frank ones, and it's geared towards having a better and a working nation called Nigeria. Please do well to follow us on our social media platforms. Please like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Femi Ojo is my name. God bless Nigeria.
And of course, Nigeria will walk in our own time. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei. Stay tuned for Spring Trends coming right after this broadcast.